My name is Victoria Morgan. I'm 36 years old, and I'm about to tell you the story of how my family stole my grandmother's inheritance, what I went through to get it back, and what happened when I finally found the proof that destroyed them. My grandmother, Eleanor, was the most important person in my life. She was my mother's mother. She was a kind woman. She was a gentle woman. She was the only person who ever made me feel loved. My parents never loved me the way they loved my brother, David. They gave him everything. They gave him attention. They gave him money. They gave him opportunities. They gave him everything I never had. But my grandmother loved me. She saw me. She saw the potential in me. She saw the person I was going to become. She saw everything my parents refused to see. When I was 18 years old, my grandmother got sick. She had cancer. It was aggressive. It was stage 4. It was terminal. She called me to her house. She said, "Victoria, I need to talk to you about something important." I went to her house. She was lying in bed. She was thin. She was weak. She was dying. She said, "Victoria, I'm leaving everything to you. The house, the savings, the jewelry, everything. I want you to have it all. You're the one who deserves it. You're the one who's going to do something with it." I started to cry. I said, "Grandma, no. I can't take everything. What about Mom and Dad? What about David? They're your family too." She said, "Victoria, I love them, but they don't deserve it. Your mother has always been cruel to you. Your father has always ignored you. David has always taken everything from you. They don't deserve anything. You do." She said, "I've written a will. I've given it to my lawyer. His name is Mr. Thompson. He's going to make sure you get everything. Don't let them take it from you. Don't let them take anything." She died 2 weeks later. I was 18 years old. I was devastated. I had lost the only person who ever loved me. A week after my grandmother died, my mother called me. She said, "Victoria, come to the house. We need to talk about your grandmother's will." I went to the house. My parents were there. David was there. They were all sitting at the kitchen table. My mother said, "Victoria, your grandmother left a will. She left everything to you. We want you to know that we're not going to let that happen. We're going to fight it." I said, "Mom, that's what Grandma wanted. She told me. She said she wanted me to have everything." My father said, "Victoria, your grandmother was sick. She wasn't in her right mind. She didn't know what she was doing. You can't take advantage of her." I said, "Dad, I didn't take advantage of her. She made that decision on her own. She loved me. She wanted me to have everything." My mother said, "Victoria, you're a liar. You manipulated her. You took advantage of her. You made her change her will. You stole from your own grandmother." I said, "Mom, I didn't do anything. I didn't ask her for anything. She made that decision on her own." My brother said, "Victoria, you don't deserve anything. You're worthless. You've always been worthless. You're just trying to take everything from me." I left the house. I was devastated. I couldn't believe my own family was turning against me. I hired a lawyer. His name was Mr. Thompson. He was my grandmother's lawyer. He had known her for 30 years. He said, "Victoria, your grandmother made this will on her own. She was of sound mind. She knew what she was doing. I'm going to help you fight for what's rightfully yours." My parents hired a lawyer too. They said I had manipulated my grandmother. They said I had committed fraud. They said I had stolen from them. The fight began. It lasted 10 years. It was the worst 10 years of my life. I spent 10 years fighting for what was rightfully mine. I spent 10 years in court. I spent 10 years in legal battles. I spent 10 years being dragged through the mud. My parents said horrible things about me. They said I was greedy. They said I was selfish. They said I was a liar. They said I was a thief. They said I was everything I wasn't. I lost friends. I lost relationships. I lost jobs. I lost everything. My mother called me once. She said, "Victoria, if you drop the case, I'll give you something. I'll give you $10,000. I'll give you a car. I'll give you something. Just stop fighting us. I said, Mom, Grandma wanted me to have everything. She told me herself. She wanted me to have the house. She wanted me to have the savings. She wanted me to have the jewelry. I'm not going to stop fighting. She said, Victoria, you're going to lose. You're going to lose everything. You're going to end up with nothing. I said, Mom, I've already lost everything. I've lost my family. I've lost my friends. I've lost my life. I have nothing left to lose. The court case was long. It was 5 years of legal battles. It was 5 years of depositions. It was 5 years of hearings. My parents had a good lawyer. His name was Mr. Harrison. He was aggressive. He was ruthless. He said things about me that weren't true. He made me look like a liar. He made me look like a thief. But Mr. Thompson was better. He was smarter. He had known my grandmother for 30 years. He knew her wishes. He knew what she wanted. He presented evidence. He showed the court my grandmother's letters. He showed the court my grandmother's statements. He showed the court my grandmother's wishes. He showed the court everything. The judge ruled in my favor. He said, the will is valid. The grandmother was of sound mind. She knew what she was doing. Victoria Morgan is the rightful heir. I won. I finally won. I inherited everything. I inherited the house. I inherited the savings. I inherited the jewelry. I inherited everything my grandmother wanted me to have. I was 28 years old. I had spent 10 years fighting for what was rightfully mine. I had lost everything. I had lost my youth. I had lost my money. I had lost my life. And now I finally had it. My parents were furious. They said, Victoria, you've ruined everything. You've ruined this family. You've ruined our lives. You've ruined everything. I said, Mom, I didn't ruin anything. I fought for what Grandma wanted. I fought for what was rightfully mine. My mother said, Victoria, you're not going to get away with this. I'm going to find a way to take it away. I'm going to find a way to destroy you. I said, Mom, you can try, but you're not going to win. I have proof. I have the will. I have the court case. I have everything. My parents didn't stop fighting. They found a way to take everything away from me. They said I had committed fraud. They said I had forged the will. They said I had stolen from my own grandmother. They said I was a thief. They hired a private investigator. He found someone who claimed I had done it. He found someone who claimed they had seen me forge the will. He found someone who said they had seen me steal. The accusations were false. They were all false. But they were convincing. They were believable. They were devastating. I lost the house. I lost the savings. I lost the jewelry. I lost everything. The next 5 years were the worst years of my life. I had nothing. I had lost everything. I had lost the inheritance. I had lost the house. I had lost the jewelry. I had lost everything. I was 33 years old. I was broke. I was alone. I was defeated. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to move on. I didn't know how to keep going. I just wanted to give up. But I didn't give up. I kept going. I kept fighting. I kept believing that one day the truth would come out. I was 35 years old when I got a call from Mr. Thompson. He was 80 years old. He was retiring.
He wanted to see me one last time.
I went to his office. He was sitting at his desk. He was old. He was tired. He was ready to retire. He said, Victoria, I have something for you. Something I've been keeping for 10 years. It's a file. It's a file on your parents. I said, what file? He said, I've been keeping a file on your parents for 10 years. I knew they were going to do something. I knew they were going to try to take everything away from you. So I kept a file. He opened his drawer. He pulled out a thick file.
He placed it on the desk.
He said, I want you to have it. I want you to know the truth. I opened the file. Inside was everything. The file was thick. It was full of papers. It was full of documents. It was full of evidence. I started reading. I couldn't stop. Mrs. Collins spoke to me on June 12, 2010. She said she was going to find a way to take the inheritance away from her daughter. She said she was going to make her daughter's life miserable. She said she was going to destroy her. Mr. Collins told me on September 5th, 2012, that he was going to hire a private investigator. He said he was going to find someone to make false accusations against his daughter. He said he was going to destroy her. Mr. Collins hired a private investigator on November 12th, 2013. The investigator found a witness who was willing to lie. The witness was paid $50,000 to testify falsely. The witness was named Mr. James Davis. He was a disbarred lawyer. He had been paid to lie about my daughter. He had been paid to destroy her. I have evidence of the payment. I have evidence of the conspiracy. I have evidence of everything. I read the entire file. I couldn't believe it. My parents had conspired to destroy me. They had paid someone to lie about me. They had done everything they could to take everything away from me. I sat in Mr. Thompson's office for a long time. I didn't cry. I didn't get angry. I just felt nothing. Mr. Thompson said, "Victoria, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I was afraid. I was afraid of your parents. I was afraid of what they would do. I'm sorry." I said, "Mr. Thompson, it's okay. I understand." He said, "Victoria, you have proof now. You have everything you need. You can go to the police. You can go to the authorities. You can go to everyone. You can finally get justice." I said, "Mr. Thompson, I will. I'm going to make sure they pay for what they did." He said, "Victoria, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of everything you've been through. I'm proud of the person you've become." I went to my parent house. I had the file in my hand. I had the proof. I had everything. My mother was in the kitchen. She was cooking dinner. She didn't look up when I walked in. She said, "Victoria, what are you doing here? You didn't call." I said, "Mom, we need to talk." I placed the file on the counter. I said, "Mom, do you know what this is?" She looked at it. She said, "What is this?" I said, "This is a file from Mr. Thompson. It's a file on you. It's a file on Dad. It's a file on everything you did to me." I started reading from the file. I read about the conspiracy. I read about the private investigator. I read about the paid witness. I read about everything. My mother's face turned pale. She said, "Victoria, I don't know what you're talking about." I said, "Mom, I have proof. I have evidence. I have everything. You conspired to destroy me. You paid someone to lie about me. You tried to take everything away from me." My father came into the room. He said, "Victoria, what's going on?" I said, "Dad, you conspired to destroy me. You hired a private investigator. You paid a witness to lie about me. You took everything away from me." My father said, "Victoria, that's not true. I didn't do anything." I said, "Dad, I have proof. I have everything. You tried to destroy me, and now I'm going to destroy you." I went to the police. I filed a report. I went to the district attorney. I filed charges. My parents were arrested. They were charged with fraud. They were charged with conspiracy. They were charged with everything. They went to trial. I was there. I testified. I told the truth. I told the jury everything they had done. The jury found them guilty. They were sentenced to 5 years in prison. I got the inheritance back. I got the house. I got the savings. I got the jewelry. I got everything. I'm 36 years old now. I have a good life. I have a good job. I have good friends. I have everything I ever wanted. My parents are in prison. My brother is in prison too. He was part of the conspiracy. He helped them. He knew what they were doing. I never see them. I never talk to them. I never want to. If you've ever had to fight your own family for what was rightfully yours, I want you to hear something. You didn't deserve what happened to you. You didn't deserve to be used. You didn't deserve to be manipulated. You didn't deserve to be taken advantage of. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard.
You deserve to be believed.
You deserve to be loved. My name is Victoria Morgan. I'm 36 years old. I fought my family for 10 years. And I won. If this story made you feel something, drop a comment below. Tell me the word that describes what you feel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear they're not alone. Subscribe for more stories like this. Thank you for listening to mine.